Hey guys, this is Dan Seifert from mobileburn.com, and what I have here today is the Samsung Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch for Sprint. This is the first Galaxy S2 version to make it to a major carrier in the United States. The Galaxy S2 was released in Europe a couple of months ago. We actually did a full review on the European version of that phone, but this is the first American one, and it's got a couple differences from what we saw for the European model. For starters, what you'll see here is it's got a larger screen. It's a 4.52-inch screen. It's the same resolution though, so you've got a WVGA 480 by 800 pixel screen, and it is still a Super AMOLED Plus screen, so you've got great viewing angles, like you can see here. Really punchy colors, just, you know, some of the best visuals that you get on a mobile phone display these days. Below that, you've got your 4 capacitive buttons for menu, home, back, and search. So instead of the European model that had 2 capacitive buttons and 1 hard button for a home key and no search key, this has got the more traditional layout there. Up top above the screen, you've got a 2 megapixel front-facing camera, and believe it or not, Samsung actually included a notification light over here. You can't see it when there's no notifications going on right now, but it is there, and it is nice to see because it is a rare thing that you see from Samsung to put notification lights on its high-end phones. Looking at the profile of the Sprint version, the Epic 4G Touch, you can see it's a little bit thicker than the Galaxy S2 that came out for Europe. The Galaxy S2 for Europe was about 8.49 millimeters thick. This one's about 9.7 millimeters. It's still very thin, very slim profile, but it is a little bit thicker. A couple reasons why, likely because of the 4G radio. This one is a WiMAX phone, so it supports 4G WiMAX speeds on Sprint's network, and it also has a slightly larger battery that we'll look at in a minute. On this particular side, you've got the volume keys. Over on the other side, really isn't much except for the power sleep unlock key. There's no hardware camera key on this particular phone. And then if we look at the bottom, you've got your micro USB port there and a microphone port next to that. The top of the phone, you've got 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and not much else except for the little tab to pull off the battery door. Now if we flip the phone over and check out the back, you can see we've got this textured back cover here, which is very nice to see. Similar to the back cover that we saw on the Infuse 4G for AT&T earlier this year. It's got a nice grippy texture to it, keeps it in your hand pretty well, though it is plastic. Up here you've got your 8 megapixel autofocus camera with a flash. Let's see if we can get this to autofocus here. There we go, and it also will record 1080p video in HD there. Now if we pop open the back cover, you get a look at what's underneath. Here we've got an 1800 milliamp hour battery, so it's slightly larger than what was shipping in the European model of this phone. And then you've got a micro SD card slot there. That will support up to 32 gigabyte cards. None is included out of the box though. Below the battery cover, we've got your external speaker, and that takes care of pretty much the hardware tour there. Now in your hand, the Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch is pretty light, much like most of Samsung's Galaxy S series phones. It's about 129 grams, so it's significantly lighter than other phones on the market, and it is lighter than you think it would be with such a large screen. But even though it is all plastic, and it certainly has these glossy, shiny plastics that you can see, it is pretty well put together, and it does feel good in your hand. Now, much like the Galaxy S2 that came out for Europe, the Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch for Sprint features Android 2.3.4 with the latest version of Samsung's TouchWiz interface for phones. I believe they're calling this TouchWiz 4.0 now. It's an evolution of the TouchWiz that we first saw a while back and have seen on a number of Android devices to date, and it is definitely the best one by far. You've got 7 home screens to choose from. You can pan through them the normal way, like you see me doing here. You can pinch to zoom out, and you get a helicopter view of them. Or Samsung has given you a way to pan through them with the number at the bottom. If you grab that and then swipe left to right, you get this nice panning screen that you can select your home screen from. So that's all very smooth and very fast, as you can see. Other tweaks that the home screen has is if you go to add a widget, you get this new way of adding widgets. You can you get the home screen shrink back, and then you get your widgets in a control list at the bottom that you can swipe through. Then if you find a widget that you want, you can tap and hold. Sure. Drag it to a home screen. Now I don't have enough room on this particular home screen, but I can tilt the phone and find a home screen that I've got more room on, and I can let go and there my widget will be. And at the same time I can go ahead and add another widget. So let's find some room here. There we go. And I've added another widget there. Pretty cool, makes it a lot easier to fill up your home screen with widgets instead of having to do it one at a time with the traditional methods. Now the widgets that are included by default, you've got a standard clock widget, an AccuWeather widget. Over here you got your Google search widget, of course. Samsung has pre-installed a calendar widget, and you've got a couple different options for calendars and agendas and stuff like that, which are pretty cool. And if we go over here, you've got Samsung's voice command software that is partnered with vLingo, and that is pre-installed on the phone out of the box. You've got a breaking news widget there, and another calendar widget that I think I might have added already. If we open up the actual app tray, we're given the side-scrolling app tray that we've seen on other Samsung Galaxy S phones. However, this one will allow you to swing right back around to the beginning, so you can continuously scroll through if you'd like. You can also change the way that you view. You can have a customizable grid, alphabetical grid, or if you prefer a list view, you can choose that as well. Now, as you might have noticed, as I'm panning through the home screens and opening things up on the phone, everything is very smooth and very, very fast. This is the Samsung Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch is powered by a 1.2 GHz dual-core Exynos processor, and it's got a gigabyte of RAM for applications. So everything is very, very fast, very smooth, some of the best performance we've definitely seen on any Android phone to date. And there really isn't anything else that we've seen from other manufacturers with other processors or things like that that can really match the performance of the Galaxy S2 at this point. If we take a look at the notification bar, we don't have customizable notifications where you can't remove them one by one, but you do have the toggle switches up top there, and you've got some convenient ones to turn on and off your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS. You can turn vibrate on and off, and there's also a toggle to turn on and off the 4G WiMAX service. Now, Samsung has customized the email application for its TouchWiz interface. If we take a look at that, you've got your standard email box when you open it up. You can scroll through, it's very fast. You've got access to different labels quickly and easily, or different folders. Pretty nice, pretty standard, but it's really cool when you turn it on its side, and you've got this two-pane email view, much like you would see on a tablet. So you can view your list of messages on one side, and you can preview a message on the other. You can still pinch to zoom on the preview message. Double tapping doesn't work, but you can of course pinch to zoom and scroll and all that normal stuff that you would do with your email account. So that's a pretty cool feature. If you happen to have more than one email account set up at a time, you can have a combined inbox that will show you all of your emails in one group. If we take a quick look at the messaging application, we've got a pretty standard messaging application here, but Samsung has given it its TouchWiz interface. You've got bubbled conversations here, and if we open up here, we can take a look at the keyboard that is included. Samsung has skinned the standard Android 2.3 keyboard, and it works pretty well. It's very fast and pretty impressive, much better than the previous versions of Samsung's keyboard. If you don't like that, you can also switch to the swipe keyboard, which is installed out of the box. And that gives you the newer version of swipe that gives you the previews inline there, which is nice to see. Taking a look at the browser on the Epic 4G Touch, we've got Samsung's custom version of the Android browser here. It's got some unique tweaks and customizations. So let's load up mobileburn here. There we go. Now the browser is extremely fast. This is our mobile site here, but if we go to our full site, you can see it loads up the web page very, very quickly, quicker than pretty much any other Android phone that I've seen. And the scrolling is effortless. Double tap to zoom is again effortless. Pinch to zoom is effortless. It's really everything that you would expect and want to see in a browser is here. There's some pretty cool tweaks that you can enable as well, like this one that allows you to put two fingers down on the screen. If you tilt the screen, you can zoom in, tilt it back, and it will zoom out, which is pretty cool. Of course, you have embedded videos as well. It will support Adobe Flash Player 10.3, so you can play Flash videos. see that loaded up.
Hey guys, this is
Nice
Dan
and quick.
from mobileburn.com, and what I've got here is the Motorola Droid Bionic from Verizon Wireless.
So there you go. It's pretty loud as well. Another cool thing that you can do is if you zoom out all the way, let's see if I can do this. There we go. You can zoom out to your tab view, and you can open up multiple windows at once, and then zoom back out, and you can switch between the multiple windows that you have open at the same time, which is pretty slick. You can see how fast the browser loads up pages, which is pretty impressive.